Okay, up next we have Stephanie Ng. She graduated from University of California, Los Angeles this past spring with a degree in environmental science and a minor in environmental engineering. She has been working in Newport for the Oregon Sea Grant Lincoln County Extension Office this summer. And one of Stephanie's goals this summer was to learn how to cook seafood in 3 different ways, which I believe you talked about on your blog this past week.
Yes, it happened.
You're on the screen right here. It's a split screen, so you have to move it so you can see it on there.
Or you can crack it.
Yeah, full screen.
Well, I just came
Oh, it's just freezing. Let's see.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie, and this summer I worked with the Lincoln County Extension Office on a project to assess the impacts of direct marketing programs. And so my project focused particularly on the Shop at the Dock programs, which runs educational tours to teach people about Oregon commercial fisheries, and then also about how to buy seafood directly from fishermen. And just to put this program in a little bit of context, previous research and then also discussions with fishermen indicated that a lot of people don't buy off the docks because they're kind of intimidated or fearful of the process. And so rather than use more resources to build infrastructure like a fish market, Sea Grant decided to try and fix this issue through education. And so some of the main goals for my project was one, to develop and then implement a tool to capture the economic and business impacts of Shop at the Dock. Another was to build build relationships with marine businesses. And then the third was to actually help prepare materials and then assist at the events. And these goals were accomplished in a couple different ways. First of all was the actual program. Shop at the Dock is in its 3rd year and it's been growing in success with each year. And so we're actually, today we finished our 5th out of the 6th program for the summer. And we have about 8 businesses participating this year. And then in conjunction with the programming, we also developed some educational materials, some of which was like a buying guide for people to see what kind of species were most common to buy from fishermen. And then also we've been doing a weekly updated sheet of the vessels that are selling, the products that they're selling, and then also how much it costs. And then also to capture the impacts of this program, we also did conduct surveys of both fishermen and then also participants in the program. And so one of the big things that we wanted to figure out from the surveys was how much of an economic impact this program was actually having on fishermen. And after our 4th program, we actually figured out that they are making around $7,250, which is definitely a significant amount. Also, something that was really significant was the amount of participants. We've had so far over 300 participants in our program, which is really great. About 63% were either full-time or part-time Lincoln County residents, and about 37% were non-locals. And then so from our surveys, we're also able to figure out how people were spending their money both on the docks and off the docks. And about 62% of our participants spent money at Shop at the Dock. And then we also wanted to figure out how much people were spending at nearby businesses to see the kind of effects that Shop at the Dock had, not just on the docks, but off the docks. And about 81% spent money at nearby businesses, so that included buying lunch at a restaurant or buying gas or checking in at a hotel. And another thing that we wanted to capture from our survey was kind of the participants' opinions of the program. And so about 94% were new to Shop at the Dock, about 65% said they would come back to another program, and 100% would recommend this program to other people. However, there were some limitations with the data. Obviously, survey work can be a little bit hard even after trying to administer the surveys there and collecting them, and then giving them an address to send it back to, and then emailing them afterwards. We still only had about a 25 to 30% return rate with our surveys, so that can definitely introduce a little bit of bias. However, I guess through conversations with the fishermen and then also through our surveys, it is evident that this program is definitely successful in educating and engaging the public in Oregon commercial fisheries, and also in providing economic benefits to fishermen. So hopefully this is a program that can definitely continue in the future. So thank you all for listening, and special thanks to Katie and Kelsey and Jess and also Sea Grant for making this all possible.
I may have missed it, but that top piece there, fishermen reported making $7,250. Was that in addition to what they would have made if they had sold to a processor? Or
so this would be what we consider like separate from it. So Shop at the Dock was like kind of a separate program. The fishermen, they sell, some of them will sell like completely like aside from Shop at the Dock, but Shop at the Dock like kind of brought a new audience to the fishermen. So this was in addition to it. And something that I didn't quite mention was that we think this actually could be a bit of like an underrepresentation of the amount. Because, well, I would say about like 95% of the time I was talking to fishermen, they were like in the middle of filleting a fish, so like they couldn't actually like pull out their money and like count it out. So they would estimate for us, but when we went back and tried to like calculate it from the amounts that people answered in the survey, we actually found that the amount that they made was probably a little bit higher than that. So that definitely is like, we think, a bit of a conservative estimate. Yeah.
Are there improvements to the survey or methodology that you'd recommend for next year?
Yeah, I think, well, so for the survey, it actually changed. The first couple of weeks, it was constantly changing. I had to print out, like, I would print out stacks, and then I would be like, shoot, this question needs, like, it's not clear enough, and it needs to be improved. So I think that, like, actually going through the survey and sort of figuring out what people are answering, and, like, maybe if people weren't understanding questions and going back and fixing them would be helpful. And I think that we kind of played around with the idea of like doing something else with the survey as opposed to just like passing them out, because like sometimes they would wander off or they'd go down to like a different dock, so they wouldn't always come back to our tent. So that's why we started sending it out online. But I think probably the best way is like offering multiple opportunities to fill out the survey. I think that's something I definitely continue on next year.
What was your favorite method of cooking seafood?
So I got a tuna the other day. I wrote about it on my blog, this is a recipe Katie told me, but it's just like super simple, like brown sugar, soy sauce, and I just marinated it and like seared it, and it was so good. Yes.
Did you buy the tuna on the dock?
I did. Yeah, it's super easy. I'd recommend it to everyone. It's really not hard, and it's like, yeah, it's really fun, and it's so crazy to see like your whole tuna just like there, and then like later that day you can eat it. It's a really great feeling.
Do you have any idea that 65% plan on attending again? Did you get a feeling of why people might not come back?
That's a good question. So this number sort of surprised me, because in my mind I could see a lot of people not wanting to attend because obviously like now they know how to do it, like they don't need to attend again. But I think also something that we said to them is like, something that we did is because it's regulation for a boat to sell whole fish, they can't really sell you anything less than that. So something that we would tell people is like, also if you kind of just wanted to find another person to like split a fish with, you can always like return to our program. But I don't know, for me personally, like every single time I've been on a tour, I've learned something different. So I can definitely see why someone would want to come back again.
You mentioned a lot of those people were non-local residents.
Yeah.
Could that have something to do with it too? They just don't plan on coming back because they're not going to be here? Like how many passing through here?
Perhaps. We do get some people who come from far away and they're like, we'll come back. Some guy today, he is from Texas and he comes back every year. But yeah, I think you are right. Probably people, we get some people that aren't from here that are from like Idaho or like Montana. So like I can imagine they might not come back to this program. Any other questions? Thank you.